When most people think about visiting England, they normally think of London, Manchester, York, maybe the Lake District, or one of the other famous destinations. Very few people outside the UK have ever heard of South Tyneside. I was one of them. In fact, the reason I first came here had nothing to do with tourism. I'm a member of Civil Air Patrol in the US, which has a cadet program that helps develop young people into future aerospace leaders. The UK has a similar organization called the Air Cadets. During COVID, our squadron in Kentucky was paired with an Air Cadet squadron in South Shields. Over time, we developed a wonderful relationship with our sister squadron. So, in October 2022, I decided to come over and finally meet everyone in person. I expected to meet some wonderful people. What I didn't expect was to fall in love with the place itself. We've returned every year since, and today, South Tyneside is our favorite destination in England. Let me show you why. South Tyneside sits in northeast England right next to Newcastle, with the River Tyne along one side and the North Sea along the other. It includes South Shields, Jarrow, and Hepburn, along with Whitburn, Clevedon, and Bolden villages. One of the first things that won us over was simply the setting. There's just something about this coastline. Walking beside the North Sea, listening to the waves and the birds, you'll come across reminders of World War II defenses and history that's all around you. There are beautiful green spaces along the coast with people walking, talking, or just out with their dogs, and there's a lot of dogs. Life seems to move at a slightly slower pace here, and we love that. There are lovely parks, traditional pubs, and the English architecture I love. Brick buildings, chimneys, townhomes, and churches that have been standing for generations. But as beautiful as South Tyneside is, the people may be what we love the most. They're friendly, welcoming, and very funny. This is Geordie country, and I'll admit that wonderful accent can occasionally leave me wondering, what do they say? But the humor is second to none. Sarcastic, a little quirky, and pretty much right in line with my own strange sense of humor. We've made some very good friends here, and they're a big reason South Tyneside now feels less like somewhere we visit and more like somewhere we come back to. One of my favorite places in South Shields is the Groyne Lighthouse. This lighthouse has stood at the mouth of the River Tyne since 1882, but that's not really why I love it. I especially enjoy coming here in the evening, sitting near the rocks, listening to the water, and watching the boats go by. As the sun gets lower and the colors begin changing across the sky, there's something incredibly peaceful about being here. Sometimes travel doesn't need to be about doing anything. Sometimes it's enough just to sit still and enjoy where you are. Just a short distance away, you can go back almost 2,000 years at Arbeia Roman Fort. I didn't even know it was here until a friend took me to see it. Arbeia dates to around 8160 and was a military supply base supporting Rome's northern frontier and Hadrian's Wall. I can almost picture what this place looked like when Roman soldiers were there. That's something I love about South Tyneside. History isn't locked away somewhere. You encounter it as you're going about your day. You feel that again at St. Paul's Church and Monastery in Jarrow. Parts of the site date back to AD 681, and it was home to the Venerable Bede, one of the most important scholars of Anglo-Saxon England. But what struck me wasn't just its age, it's still an active church. I've attended a service here with friends, taken communion, and joined everyone afterward for fellowship. You're surrounded by more than 13 centuries of history. But this isn't simply an old building preserved for tourists. It's still a living place of worship and community. I think that's pretty cool. In the summer, one of the highlights is Sandhaven Beach. It's a beautiful stretch of beach along the North Sea. It was named UK Beach of the Year in 2022. On a warm day, you'll see people relaxing, playing volleyball, and enjoying the water, with restaurants along the seafront and Ocean Beach Pleasure Park at the northern end. The summer season isn't terribly long up here, so when a beautiful day arrives, people take advantage of it. Sometimes we simply come here to relax, listen to the seagulls on the water, and enjoy being on the coast. Another favorite is Marsden Bay and the Marsden Grotto, and the grotto has quite a story. Back in 1782, a man known as Jack the Blaster blasted a home into the coastal cliff. Over the years, the place developed a colorful history involving smugglers and all sorts of stories. Today, there's a hotel, restaurant, and bar built right into the rock. We'll sometimes stop for a drink, dessert, or light lunch and sit outside beside the North Sea with the cliffs rising around us. It's unusual, peaceful, and just a little quirky. In other words, quintessential South Tyneside. Continue along the coast towards Whitburn and you'll come to Souter Lighthouse. The red and white lighthouse first shown in 1871 and was the world's first purpose-built lighthouse designed to run on electricity. But for us, the attraction isn't just the history. The lighthouse standing above the North Sea, surrounded by big, open, grassy fields, is simply a beautiful place to slow down and enjoy the view. And we don't spend every day racing from one attraction to another. Sometimes it's fun just to experience everyday life. King Street in South Shields is a great place to spend the morning browsing the shops, stopping for coffee or something from a bakery, and simply enjoy being in an English town. Even popping into the co op for a snack has become part of the experience. Not every travel memory needs to involve a famous landmark. I do have one shopping tradition every time we return: Barber. Barber was founded right here in South Shields in 1894, and today there's a factory outlet in Jarrow. I love their classic British clothing, and yes, they even make things for dogs. Ours have Barber too. My secret is heading for the clearance section in the back. I found some excellent sweaters, a motorcycle jacket, and footwear at substantial discounts. For me, a trip to South Tyneside without a stop at Barber would feel incomplete. Speaking of traditions, we need to talk about food. Our favorite restaurant in South Tyneside is E Street 19 in Whitburn. Chef Lee combines his Mexican roots and California culinary background with the restaurant that somehow feels perfectly at home in this little English village. You can have a proper, full English breakfast. You can have French toast or one of his enormous Mexican breakfast burritos. And when I say enormous, I mean it. That thing's about as big as my face. But what keeps us coming back isn't just the food. Chef Lee is a genuinely nice guy who I'm happy to call a friend. It's one of those places where a great meal can easily turn into a long conversation over coffee or tea. Then there's Coleman's Seafood Temple at Sandhaven Beach, my favorite seafood restaurant. Coleman's has been a South Shields institution since 1905. The seafood is excellent, but so is the setting, with floor to ceiling views across the North Sea. It's a wonderful place for a romantic meal or dinner with friends. And when you're finished, the beach is right outside. Buddy and I also take our ice cream pretty seriously. Minchella and Company has been making ice cream in South Shields since the 1930s, and in our opinion, it's the best in England. Grab an ice cream or a sundae, sit along the seafront, and watch the world go by. Buddy is partial to the strawberry and chocolate sundaes. I can't exactly disagree with him. But if you're craving a burger, Fries and Bergs near South Shields Town Hall serves a double smashed cheeseburger that's crispy, cheesy, messy, and definitely not a light lunch. Bring extra napkins. There are plenty of hotels, guest houses, and Airbnbs around South Tyneside. We've stayed with friends in recent years, but last year we had a lovely Airbnb near South Marine Park in South Shields. It was amazing, and the host was so nice. For a first visit, I particularly like the area around the marine parks and Ocean Road, close to restaurants, shops, the beach, and entertainment, and much of it is easily walkable. As for when to visit, late May or early June is probably the sweet spot for most travelers, with long days and manageable crowds. September is another great option after the summer crowds have gone, but remember, this is Northeast England. The weather can change quickly, so layers and a light rain jacket are always a good idea. We've been fortunate enough to visit a lot of wonderful places in England and throughout Europe, and there's certainly nothing wrong with the big destinations. But Buddy and I tend to prefer a slower pace. We like walking along the coast. We like the grass, the trails, the sand, and the surf. We love seeing the town center, so classically British. We like finding a good pub or restaurant, sitting down and actually having time to talk to people and have fun. We've made friendships here that mean far more to us than any attraction ever could. That's what keeps bringing us back. In 2022, South Tyneside was a place we'd never even heard of. Today, it's the place we return to every time we visit England. And maybe the perfect way to understand why is to end the day where we started, back at the Herd Groyne. Sit down near the rocks, watch a boat make its way along the Tyne, listen to the water, watch the colors change across the evening sky, and for a little while, don't worry about where you need to go next. Just enjoy being there. That's South Tyneside to us. And if you've never considered visiting before, I hope maybe now you will.